All right.
Hello.
Hey, how are you? This is Marriage God's Way. And I'm on my wife page. And we're going to be talking about today on Kingdom Covenant marriages and the conflicts. And we'll be talking about the conflicts that is our subtitle. And so we want to make sure that we give enough time for people to get on there and get ready to get engaged with what we're about to do. So we are live now talking about Kingdom Covenant marriage conflicts. Did I say that right, honey?
Covenant marriages and conflict.
In conflict, right. And marriage, period, that are in conflict. And that's one of the things that we want to make sure that we stress the point that kingdom covenant marriages are very vital and very sacred to God. Marriage in itself, the Bible says, is honorable. Kingdom or non-kingdom marriage is honorable, and the bed is undefilable. So we're gonna get more into that as soon as we continue to move on out today. We want you to send your questions, inbox us if you have any questions. Also, we'll be taking on 12 couples intimate gathering this year, personal in our home. Where we'll be personally mentoring and discussing marriage and different issues and different things that can help married people continue to go on. Because one thing the enemy hates is people marrying in God. He tries his best is to divide marriage. He hates marriage because we know it's a covenant marriage, and a covenant marriage is one that's covering one another, and then that covenant marriage is with God as well. And so God is excited about marriage, and you ought to be excited about marriage as well. And so we want to make sure that we address these issues and make sure people can identify the issues and move forward. We have going on 33 years of marriage, and we had ups and downs and conflicts, so we are overqualified to talk about this. And we want to talk about it today and in the upcoming weeks as we develop this series. Also, we have a manual that'll be coming out very soon that says, I Still Do Manual, Covenant Marriages. So that manual coming out, we'll be talking about the 4 seasons in marriage that has conflict, and we'll be discussing some of that too as well as we go throughout the broadcast in the upcoming week as well. Also, look for us on YouTube Live as well as on our Marriage God's Way page. Like that, most of our contents will be on Marriage God's Way on Facebook, and then we'll be actually doing series on different issues. We'll be asking questions. We'll take in questions from Facebook, or email us as well at carpenterhouseministry@gmail.com, as well as Facebook's inbox one of us, and we will answer your question. It will be anonymous, so no one knows your question, but you will know what it is, and you will know that you said it. And so we want to make sure that you gather that information so you can move forward in conflict. Because one thing about having conflict in marriage, you're going to have conflict and you're going to have disagreements. That doesn't mean you run to the divorce court because he didn't say it this way or she didn't say it this way, but conflict is one of the things that happen. And it's the most simplest thing that can be defeated, but it's one of the tricks of the enemy to use conflict to say, well, we're not on one accord, we're not on the same page because we got conflict. Well, conflict comes in so many different ways. So come on in, honey.
No, you go on. Continue on.
Because I want to make sure that people get what we're trying to do on dealing with conflict and marriage God's way at the same time. So that's what we want to make sure everyone get, and want everybody to embrace. And share this out to your pages. If you're married, please tune in and share it. If you are engaged, please share and get the information that we're going to share with you in the upcoming weeks as well. And if you are looking to be married, because I know a lot of, especially single sisters, feel like they okay in their singleness, which you should be until that time of marriage. And then some single women that I discovered that are not worrying about getting married no more. They believe their time has passed them by, and the devil is a lie. So we want to share to the singles as well as the marriage, and so you can understand what covenant marriage is, what kingdom covenant marriage is all about.
Mm-hmm. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with our Facebook as far as the viewing and all of that. But we're going to continue to move forward with what we're sharing tonight on marriage, the covenant marriage in conflict. Oftentimes, marriages, we get married, we watch the couples go down the aisle, they do all of the planning and everything, and then they lose sight of those happy moments when they first came together. They lose sight of what the reason why they got married in the first place. And so tonight we just want to be before you a little bit and share how we got married, because we don't assume that everybody knows that story. So we want to share how we got married, how we met, a little bit about our background, maybe, how we came into the church, and then how we got married. And then we want to share how all of those things set us up for conflict. Although we had a belief system that marriage, we went through the Priscilla and Aquila, the time of being counseled by men of God, women of God, and then we wind up having conflict, and we couldn't understand because we had the word. It's like the word should work. So, we want to begin to share about those things. I'll let my husband share his part first, and then I'll add in. He'll start with how he grew up and a little history, a little background, because the background ties into why you have conflict. Right,
and because we both came from different sides of the track, as they say. But I grew up in came from a split home, and so I'm the oldest of 5 siblings that my mother had. Thank God that she brought us into the earth realm. And at the same time, I didn't get a chance to see examples. The examples that I saw as a man, I saw my uncles, because my father was busy doing his thing, and I didn't see the relationship of a man that would share his life with me at a young age. So I grew up, and then when I came into the church, I got a chance to see my first pastor that was married for a long time, as well as growing the church up. I came into the church that we met. I think I was the 30th member at this particular assembly in Chicago. And I didn't know nothing. I came straight off the streets. I didn't know nothing about marriage, let alone a relationship with a woman, but being dominant or domineer over a woman, because that's how my uncles showed me. They didn't tell me how to do it. They showed me by demonstration. And sometimes you can see things not just by being taught, but by demonstration as well. That's why it's important to connect with people that have been married for a long period of time, or have some more insight than you have, because the demonstration of what you see will help you identify some things, some areas in your life as well. And so when I got born again, I knew I wanted to be married, so I didn't have sex before I got married. So that was the plus side. But whether you did or don't, you get married. The key part is you're gonna have conflict, because we both come from different backgrounds. Whereas my wife, when she grew up with her parents, married over 30, 35, 40 years, so she was able to see marriage in a different perspective than I did. I didn't see it the way she saw it, but I had to learn it, and the demonstration and the different people that we saw in there to make sure that I had an identity of what marriage should look like. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we do this from time to time, and we're so bent on marriages being successful, because if anyone needed to do it, be divorced, would be me and her, because we had a whole bunch of conflict. And so that was the main thing that I wanted to share as well. Go ahead, honey.
So my growing up, like my husband said, he grew up with two professional parents who were separated, divorced, a split home,
right.
Brothers who they were different homes, growing up with different babysitters and all that. My side of the track was that I had a stable home. My parents had us, they were older, and my dad was 56 when I was born. My mom was 17 years younger. And so my parents, they built their home from the ground up before we were born. So I grew up in a stable home. However, that 17 year, still out there. That 17 year, is it still on? That 17 year gap, created my father to be a little older. And so with that being said, we're going to continue on with this. I don't know. Do you see the other one? Excuse me. We're having a few technical difficulties.
So stay tuned.
Hold on. No, just go to that there. Because the main thing is we want to be able to help couples, so you don't see it at all. I shared it on your page.
Right.
Where's your page?
Okay. There you go.
Okay. I'm not sure if we're getting a good connection. We may have to do another connection. You don't see it. Did I tag you in? Our goal here is to strengthen marriages. And so I'm not sure if this is this particular phone is getting some okay, let us start again.
All right.